guys, welcome to the video, welcome back to the channel, and let's get straight into part 2 of the underside restoration with this thing. What's happened since I was last here?
We've carried on removing some more bits of the car. We have taken the front subframe out. We did find the same again as the rear subframe, the bolts were seized, so it was quite a few hours with an angle grinder and a saw cutting the bolts out. Done that, got the brake lines off, fuel tank is now out as well. Yeah, so we're at the point where we're going to be starting to look into do the preparation work in order to be able to put a coating on the floor.
All the stuff that came off this car has gone now as well. It is at the powder coaters, and the reason why there's a couple of things under here the way it is because
on these S2000s, the engine is actually mounted on the subframe, so with like your EP3 is mounted to the chassis. So once the front subframe is back, we can put that back in the car, and it does mean we can take a couple of extra little bits and pieces that we are going to take off.
Got some rust that I hadn't seen before. So this was hidden by the wheel arch liner.
That will be a case of grind the corrosion back and see where we're at. If it is a case that potentially there is any holes or anything like that, then basically have to look at making a panel. And we can also see this part of the sill has been slightly bent up as well, so it looks like at some point in its life someone might try to jack it up from there or something along those lines, so we'll try and do what we can to straighten that back out as well.
This edge has got, you can see a bit on here.
Our plan is, if you come to this outside face here, so you can see this is the factory blue colour which has been on this face, so we will effectively tape off this face, and from this side inwards will be with the black coating. As you can see here, we're starting to get a bit of light corrosion around here.
I kind of feel like the back of this car is the worst part, really.
Obviously it's generally either side of the wheels, because anything like debris, salt, water, anything on the tyres is going to flick off around the areas local to it. So what we normally have is one of these trims. So yeah, obviously it does leave areas where dirt and debris and mud and everything can sit up against the metal. So yeah, obviously removing that, you can find there's quite a lot of dirt and debris behind.
That's some foreshadowing to what we'll show you in a minute. Also, these clips, these yellow clips here, these hold in the brake line. These were already broken, so someone has been in here before, because it'd be very weird. They should look like this. We've also now taken out the brake lines and fuel line as well, which actually is over here.
These are 2 brake lines. That's the feed, that's the evap, and that is the fuel return. So this particular one, the fuel feed, as you can see from here, is the one that has suffered the most corrosion. Obviously for the point we're at with the car, it would just not make sense to put it back on.
So I've been to Honda to pick this up. So yeah, you can clearly see the difference between what it should look like and what this one's like. I've also picked up 2 more of those yellow clips as well. The plan for brake lines, however, is slightly different.
So obviously what these 2 lines in here, so these are a metal line. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to make like a braided line front to rear. These are going to be stainless steel, so they're one of those that's massively going to outlive any sort of mild steel. If you ever have to do the brake lines, you are looking at pulling the car apart to this point on the rear basically in order to be able to do it, so not doing it now would just be silly.
Coming back to the back of the car, we've got what looks like, yeah, some underseal has been done on this car at some point, but it seems really weirdly patchy on where they've done. Not here, but it has been there, and it's starting to flake off here. We've also got the rear crash beam. So nothing's actually happening with this. It's because my plan for the rear of the car is I'm gonna have the ASM rear bumper, and to run the ASM rear bumper, you have to also run the JDM rear crash bar or make your own custom one, like I've got a custom one on the front. So I'm not worried about restoring or making this one nice.
So we're going to take the rear bumper off so we can get up to the back to inspect, but obviously, so what we're going to plan on doing is bringing the coat into the edge of the panel here, and then the panel up here will stay in the painted finish.
I guess the final and probably, in my opinion, the worst part of this car is actually this sill area here. So this is on the passenger side, which is where all the road grime and everything builds up, and you can see actually it's still sat in there. This is so similar to EP3s. There's no really scary bits, maybe apart from what we find behind the mud here. Let's see just what goes into getting the metal back to a condition in which it's actually usable.
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the worst areas first. So we're going to start on this driver's side front quarter area. We're going to start by running a wire wheel over it just to remove any debris, and obviously get down to where you can start to get to bare metal to see what the damage is.
All right, let's get going then. This is in better condition than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be some holes and stuff here.
Obviously this, metal is here, is all starting new. You can just see obviously this pitting is where the corrosion was just starting to set in. So we've definitely caught it at the point where if it had gone any further, then you're going to be looking at panel replacements and obviously a huge amount more work. So yeah, it looks like we've caught it just in time to be able to treat it and it be an acceptable repair. There's still plenty of good structural strength to all the metal.
And what's next?
So we're just going to run over something called a flap wheel on the grinder. So this is just to take anything off the top layer. Even with the wire wheel, you can sometimes find that the actual oxidisation of the metal is still in the top surface. So just running over the surface with the flat wheel will just take that back ever so slightly, just so we're 100% sure that we have got all the corrosion out of there and we're not sealing over anything that doesn't want to be sealed in.
So this is the difference. Fresh metal, potential oxidation still there. So the plan is obviously to make it all like this, so we know for sure that there's nothing left under here.
I've got a few finishing off bits to do around the edges, but the main thing for the time being was just attack the part that sort of looked like it could be an area of concern, and we seem to be all good there.
The next area to find out what it's like is the rear arch. And this area is going to be interesting because obviously it's still covered in dirt, so we don't actually know what the condition is behind here. So Joel, should we find out what it's going to be like?
Let's see what's behind.
There's no really scary bits, maybe apart from what we find behind the mud here. What is behind is a hole. It seems to be that I cannot escape the curse of the rear arch. Well, I guess this is a testament to if you've got those plastic pieces that are in here, maybe worth taking those out and seeing what you've got behind so you don't end up in the scenario I'm in, but this is pretty toast. Luckily the other side is okay, but yeah, this is obviously not just going to get a load of undersill over the top of it. This is going to have to be cut out and a panel welded in. Old Hondas, yay. Definitely looks like the bunghole is the cause of this, because all of this bit under here is all solid and it looks like it's kind of come down from there. This doesn't have the bunghole, so that's why this one looks so good, I think. But anyway, it's time to now go and wire wheel to just see just how far this rust is going on this panel. Nature's weight saving is really taking its toll here, and it really is at the point of like, if you're gonna do here, why would you not do here? I'm gonna have to just commit to getting this sorted now, which is financially so annoying. So we're gonna take a pause on that section at the back just because I need to figure out what costs are gonna be and all that. The plan now is to just switch gears and move on to the areas that aren't as bad. So this is basically at the point where we're trying to get all of the other areas under the car too. So now we're at this stage, what is the next step?
We're going to put some of this Hammerite Kurust product on there. So what this does is creates a chemical reaction which actually eliminates any particles of rust or anything that are still in the panel. So this is just a bit of an extra preventative measure to put on top of what we've already done. And what we'll visually see is it turns to a purple colour. So once it turns to a purple colour, that is the chemical reaction complete.
Yeah, this is crazy how quickly this has gone. I mean, this is what, like 2 minutes?
At the moment, it's sort of in liquid form, so when it's got to the point it is sort of solidified on the car, that's the point when we can look at putting some primer and stuff on there.
So this stuff is all dry now, not quite as purple anymore, but ready for the next coat, which is?
So we're going to put some epoxy primer on there, so we're just going to dust a layer of that over, just protects the metal from any further corrosion, just as a good base before the undercoat goes on. We've done a bit of a dust coat. We don't want to go too heavy, just to give the primer more chance to dry. So do a bit of a dust coat, put a bit of heat on it, leave it about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll just go over with another top coat of the primer as well.
So And now that this piece is dry, the plan is for that exact same process to happen for all the other rust spots underneath this car. And by the time that's done, I should in theory have a plan of what is going to happen to the rust on the arch. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, the car is completely wrapped up now, and we have a plan. Here are all the panels, and these are full replacement pieces like OEM. The company Express Steel Panels has bought OEM panels from Honda and completely replicated them. I've reached out to them and they said they would offer 10% off to anyone who wants to order stuff through me. All you got to do is send me a message. Instagram's probably the easiest, and that way I can send you your own unique code. We have a complete inner sill piece. This is going to make our lives so much easier because we can also see the shapes and everything here too. Also, it was worth mentioning these are obviously 2 panels that they offer. They have plenty of other parts for S2000s. I'm also trying to help them out and get some stuff for the EP3 Civics as well. So obviously I bought this entire arch. I don't need the entire arch. We only really need this bottom section down here, this piece. Much better to have the actual shape for all of this bit down here rather than trying to create that ourselves. I don't actually have anywhere I can stand. I'm going to stand under here, but what's the plan?
So we're going to start off by, we're going to remove the paint from the outside of here. So what we're going to go to do is take away the minimal amount of material to start off with, just so we can access the inside panel. So where we've got this corrosion has come to, so we're going to come roughly somewhere around there, expose all the metal, make sure we're getting to the point that we are at fresh metal and all the corrosion is out. We will cut the outside of this panel to obviously expose the inner, then we'll start taking out the spot welds for the panel inside there, cut that out, replace that, obviously clean up all the inside of the sill and everything before the panel goes in.
This is the bit I've been just like prolonging as long as possible. Oh god, okay, here we go. Go on then. Rip to the paint. I'll be honest, this isn't actually as much off. Like, I thought the rust would go further in.
I think we've luckily caught it at a point where it hasn't started going further down the arch. So yeah, remove this section and then we can get to the panel underneath.
Check out how thin this outer piece of metal has become. Literally just peels away. So we can't even really find the spot weld because there's basically nothing left of this top sheet. All of this bit of metal that was here, super thin, and then it goes almost instantly, transitions back into being a thick sheet of metal here. But just look at that. So glad I've ordered those panels now. This whole shape and everything, having that already is so useful to not have to remake this without knowing what it was before, because obviously it doesn't exist anymore. And this is why this needed cutting out, because how else are you supposed to get to that really and actually properly sort that out? So next stop is spot weld finding, hopefully. See, we've got some spot welds that have been revealed, which is good. The plan is to come across here, so this is why here has been ground back, because the bit of rust that was bubbling underneath the paint here was the spot weld, so that spot weld's going to have to come out. This spot weld's going to have to come out. Spot weld's out here. How quickly that happens, let's find out, because this is going to suck. Here it is all all cut up. And yeah, it's gone in here about as much as we thought, actually, to be honest. There are a few other areas, like you can see this bit up here, that's gonna need addressing as well. Obviously, we've got this hole here. So Joel's planning to cut a little bit further along, which on the outside looks like this kind of amount is gonna come off, which is actually originally what I thought was the amount that was gonna come off. But we're gonna go in stages because obviously if we don't need to cut it out, we won't, but we won't know until we get further into it. The good thing though, you can see this bit, this has just been hit very, very briefly with the flap disc to just quickly see what it was gonna be like, and it's looking promising. So the next plan is to actually sort out all the bits within this arch. But obviously there's no point in welding a piece over the front of this and hiding all of this again. And have a look at all of the metal that did get cut out in the end. It's good that we've caught this now, because again, another couple of years and this could have been so much worse than it is even now. Thought I would just talk about parts for a second. So this is what's crazy, right? So all of the bolts that we have for the underside here, this from Honda UK would be £455. Absolutely insane. I ended up ordering all of this stuff from Japan from a company called Amiyama. That has saved me so much money on OEM parts. I would 100% recommend using them if you can. Wish this was sponsored. That'd be amazing if that was possible. This total, bearing in mind £450, this came to £150 with shipping from Japan. So an absolutely crazy saving. One thing to bear in mind when you're ordering it from somewhere like that though is that the UK has a £135 limit on what you can order without paying import tax and things like that. So now moving on to the stuff that I've ordered since, because most of it has arrived now. So we've got another package from Amiyama from Japan. We've got the circlips for wheel bearings, OEM Honda. We've got like the hub caps, which is the part that are needed for the front axles, because obviously there isn't drive shafts in the front axles. 2 rear dust shields for around the brake section, because these had disintegrated. One of these from Honda UK was going to work out about £90. From Japan, they're £25. I've managed to order both of these plus all of those bits and ship them for a little bit more, like it was like £10 more than buying just one of these from Honda UK. Absolutely crazy. I did also need ABS sensors, and because I need 3 of them, unfortunately, it didn't make sense for me to order them from Japan. So I've ordered other stuff from Tegawa because they were far cheaper than Honda UK. Again, one ABS sensor from Honda UK is like £330. I think that might be even ex VAT as well. And from Tegawa, exactly the same thing, was half that price, around £160-ish. So currently got one, still waiting on a couple more. Also from Tegawa, what I've ended up doing is getting some wheel bearings. These are the NTN wheel bearings for all 4 corners. We've also got some more hard race bits. So I've got hard race upper ball joints. These are the same on the front and the rear. So I've got 2 sets of these. And I've also picked up some roll center adjusting tie rod ends for the front. Although I'm going to stick with the standard anti-roll bars, I decided to pick up some poly bushes for both the front and the rear, just the OEM sizing. I've got those from Powerflex. We're doing some braided lines, and I already have them in the front with the spoon brakes, so ordered just a rear kit. So these are Hell braided lines, and I decided to get them in black. You could get them in multiple different colors. Also, there's all the powder coated stuff. Anyway, let's get back to the car. Okay, so plan is now, Fraser's jumped in and is going to start on the other wheel arch. Joel is going to do on the inside of the arch we just cut out, and it's all going to happen double time. So let's go. So as you can see, this stuff's had the Kurust on now, basically waiting for that to actually dry and be ready to put the primer on that. So whilst that is drying, up here you can see this section is getting work on because it's pretty crusty here too. Joel's doing exactly the same process as down here. There's basically a hole here, even though it doesn't look too rusty now. The good thing, I suppose, I'm trying to think of all the positives here. The good thing is that here is solid metal. The plan is that this is going to get cut kind of along this kind of line here. Here is, well, all this stuff is pretty much dry now. Still obviously needs to get cut out here. We've ground back inside this wheel arch in a wheel arch here, and that is fine. Just it was surface rust, which is good. This panel piece here has actually had to get cut out a bit more than planned, just because we just kept finding rust and rust. So the plan for this is plates are going to get made here, all going to get welded together. However, let me show you the other side. Oh boy, have we been on some discovery today. As you can see all here, this is all pitted and rusted through. So I'm gonna need this as a replacement in a skin. And this is the craziest one. So I was right earlier in the video when thinking that this had been replaced. As you can see, we've ground this back and you can see it there. This is mad though. What we have found is behind these holes is the original panel. They never cut out the original piece. Whoever did this before, however many years ago this was, you can see they've repaired it, but they've left the rusty bit in there. So we're definitely going to be cutting this out and seeing just what is in there. It does actually look like the rest of the sill and everything is in similar condition to the other side, so I'm quite happy about that. So I'm also going to be ordering the replacement panel piece for this side as well, which I didn't think I was going to originally have to do, which is annoying. But to see behind this, you're going to have to wait until the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying this series, like this one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.